Minnesota and Wisconsin's primary elections are in the books. That includes a tight Democratic race for governor.
After securing the nomination overnight, David Crowley spoke to his supporters this morning.
Crowley, a moderate Democrat, ended up with about 3,000 more votes than progressive socialist Francesca Hong. Hong has conceded the race, but that slim margin could have led to a recount if her team requested and paid for one.
During a press conference in Milwaukee this morning, Crowley congratulated Hong on her campaign and quickly looked ahead to November. He now faces Republican Congressman Tiffany, who easily earned the Republican endorsement last night. Crowley dropped out of the governor's race back in early July and then got back in just 10 days later with current Governor Tony Evers's endorsement. And today, Crowley pitched himself as a strong matchup against Tiffany, especially in a swing state known for close elections where independent moderate voters often decide the outcome.
Every one of us has something much bigger to unite around. And that is keeping MAGA extremism from bringing the chaos we see in Washington into our neighborhoods right here in the state of Wisconsin.
And meanwhile, Tiffany has President Donald Trump's endorsement and is currently one of the most conservative members of the U.S. House. He's recently portrayed himself as an everyday Wisconsinite and the steady choice in November, especially as all the candidate confusion played out on the Democratic side before the primary. And Tiffany commented on the hallmarks of his campaign at his watch party last night.
It is about the farmers that get up before sunrise, the small business owners opening their doors, the parents working overtime to give their kids a better life, the teacher who shows up every day because they believe in their students, and the Wisconsin family that simply wants a fair shot.
Now, taking a look at our local results for governor, while Republican voters in our counties all supported Tiffany, Democratic voters were split. Democrats in Douglas, Ashland, Bayfield, and Sawyer counties all voted for Hong, while Democrats in Iron and Washburn voted for Crowley.